Alright, algebra review. Slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. They call it slope-intercept because you have slope and you have intercept. What is the equation for the slope? This is that y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. This is equal to slope. Remember, it's not necessarily which point you put first, but it's got to be the same point that you put first. So whatever x you use, that's the y that's got to go first. Point slope form. You're going to use a point and you're going to use a slope. So y minus y1 is equal to m x minus x1. Here's your point, the x1, y1, and there's your slope, your m. Standard form, ax plus by is equal to c. Tiny additions. A must be positive, and then no fraction. All right. You could say, if you wanted to be positive, we could say all whole numbers. Some people like being positive. All whole numbers is another way to say it. Anyway, moving on. Write an equation in slope-intercept form. We will probably not do this to you on the test. It's just to get you warmed up. They're giving you m, they're giving you b. This is y is equal to mx plus b. And on the second one, y is equal to mx plus b. That's going to be a negative 5. So minus 5 on that one. Write an equation of the lines that pass through the given points. First thing you got to do, calculate the slope. Calculate the slope. So I've got negative 8 minus 1 over 0 minus negative 3. Again, negative 8 and 0, they got to stay together. 1 and negative 3 got to stay together. So I'm going to get negative 9 over 3, and I'm going to get negative 3. Now, once you get the slope, a lot of you guys will take the slope, grab a point, and dump it right into point slope. Sometimes, however, they're going to give you the y-intercept in a very sneaky way. They're going to list it as a point. If you spot them giving you the y-intercept as a point, feel free to take it and dump it immediately into the equation. All right? You do not have to go through all that craziness. You can dump it straight into the equation. Looking at number 4. Again, another one of those times, if you see y is the same, this is a horizontal line. Some of you guys will immediately notice that. You'll be able to dump it straight into your equation. Y is equal to negative 4. The slope is 0. You can be done right here. If you don't see that, you're going to have to rush through the slope. So we have negative 4 minus negative 4 over 0 minus 2. 0 over negative 2. And for the rest of you, you've got to identify right here that we've got a 0 slope. It's going to be this equation. If you don't, you go through the last step. So we'll get y. We'll use this one. It's got a 0 in it. Y minus negative 4 is equal to 0 is our slope. X minus 0. You'll notice this all goes away. You'll get y plus 4 is equal to 0. You subtract the 4 from both sides, and you get back where you started. So the casual idea here is the more you know, the less work you have to do. All right? If you didn't immediately identify it, you got to go to this step. If you don't identify that 0 slope, you got to go to this step. So the more you know, the easier your life is. Casual heads up. All right, write the equation with the given values. Again, they're just trying to be fancy here. F of x, this is just function notation. This is your x, this is your y. We're going to go through the same process. So I've got 4 minus 2 over 2 minus 0. That gives me 2 over 2. My slope is going to be 1. Again, I have identified my y-intercept as 2. So y equals mx plus b. My b value is 2. Again, identifying 0 as x, that makes this the y-intercept. You don't have to put this 1 there. I do because I like seeing that slope. All right, next problem. Negative 5 minus negative 1 over 5 minus 0. Negative 4 over 5 is my slope. Again, I can write straight to the equation because I've identified my y-intercept. 0 for x, this makes it the y-intercept. 4 over 5x is going to be negative minus 1 for my y-intercept. Next page. Write the equation that goes through the line and has the given slope. Goes through this point and has the given slope. So I've got y minus y1 is equal to m. X minus x1. Distribute the 2. Add that 1 to the other side. I've got y is equal to 2x minus 3. Next problem. Y minus y1 is equal to m. X minus x1. Watch those negatives. I'm never going to write the double negative because I don't like seeing it. It's messy. I'm just going to flip it to a positive immediately. So I've got 3 over 2x plus 6 divided by 2 is 3 times 3 is 9. Add that 6 to both sides, and I will get my final equation of y equals 3 over 2x plus 15. Line it on up. Find the x and y intercepts. My x-intercept, I know y is 0, so I can just throw a 0 in for y. That gives me 4x is equal to 3. X is equal to 3 over 4. My x value when y is 0. My y-intercept is where x is 0. So again, the x will be 0, gives me negative y is equal to 3. So y is equal to negative 3. Next problem, same idea. I'm going to dump a 0 in for my y, for my x-intercept. That gives me 2x is equal to 18, but the 6y will go away once you dump that 0 in there. Divide both sides by 2, you'll get x is equal to 9. My y-intercept, put a 0 in for x. So I'm going to get negative 6y is equal to 18. This will give me y is equal to negative 3 once I divide that 6 off. Watch those negatives. They can get a little dicey. Next one. Again, same stuff every time. 2x is equal to 9 because the y can be dumped off. This gives me x is equal to 4.5. You can also write it as 4 1/2 with the fraction. You can write it as 9 over 2. It's really up to you and what your teacher will accept there. Make sure you ask that question. For the y-intercept, again, x is 0, so I'm going to get 3y is equal to 9. Y is equal to 3. Looks just like that. Sliding this up. Slope-intercept. We're going to have to do pretty much the same thing we did up there, except we're going to calculate the slope and then not giving us any y-intercepts. That's kind of rough because we're going to have to calculate those with our point-slope equation. Here we go. 0 minus 8 over negative 6 minus a negative 2. This gives me negative 8 over negative 4. So my slope is 2. I'm always going to pick the point if it's got a 0 in it or if the numbers are smaller because it makes my math a little bit easier. So I've got y minus 0 is equal to 2. X minus negative 6. Once I distribute, that is the answer because the 0 is just going to drop. Y is equal to 2x plus 12. This next one is just going to be rough. So it's not really that bad. We've got both y's. They both have a denominator of 4. So I've got negative 3 over 4 minus 3 over 4 over negative 2 minus negative 5. This is where it's going to get a little weird. You've got negative 1.5 over negative 3, or positive 3 rather. I'm just going to take these, multiply both the top and the bottom by 2 to get rid of that decimal, and that gives me negative 3 over 6. Oh, we can reduce this to 1 over 2. We don't even have to do this craziness right here. We're just going to reduce it straight to 1 over 2, and it's going to be negative. So, game time, I'm going to use this point because I've got a slope of 1 over 2. That'll make a whole number with my x. Of course, my y is going to get all messed up with that value right there. So y minus a negative 3 over 4 is equal to negative 1 over 2. And I've got x minus a negative 2. Distribute that 1/2, and that's going to give me y plus 3 over 4 minus 1 over 2 equals negative 1 over 2x minus 1. I'm going to subtract 3 over 4 from both sides. And that's going to give me y equals negative 1 over 2x minus 1 3/4. You can put 7/4. I'm going to put 1.75. You can do that 7/4. You can do the 1 3/4, however you want to write that. Next problem, 1 minus negative 5 over negative 5 minus 10. This gives me 6 over negative 15. I'm going to reduce, checking the math. I'm going to reduce to 2 over 5. Yeah. And I'm going to slide that negative to the top. Reduce to 2 over 5. Slide that negative to the top. I'm going to pick this point because, again, the numbers are smaller, and I want to deal with those small numbers if possible. Y minus 1 is equal to negative 2 over 5. X minus a negative 5. Distribute the 2/5, and I'm going to get y minus 1 is equal to negative 2 over 5x minus 2. Add the 1 to both sides. I'm going to get y is equal to negative 2 over 5x minus 1. Last problem. How exciting. Standard form. Not as exciting. I don't like it. But it's useful. It's useful sometimes. Really useful for x and y intercepts. Here we go. Y minus 1 is equal to m. X minus x1 distribute to 2. Y minus 1 is equal to 2x minus 2. Now when you do this, I've got to get my x and y on the same side. My x has to be positive. So I'm going to leave the x over here. I'm going to add the 2 to both sides. That gives me y plus 1 is equal to 2x. I'm going to subtract the y from both sides, and I've got my standard form. I didn't have to divide by a negative to make my x positive. That's why I kept the x on that side. 2x minus y is equal to 1. A, B, C. A is positive, all whole numbers. We got a fraction. It's going to get a little weird on this. So I've got y minus negative 4 is equal to negative 3 over 4, x minus 8. Distribute the negative 3 over 4. Y plus 4 is equal to negative 3 over 4x. That's going to give us a plus 6 when we distribute that 3 over 4. Here's where we got to make a choice. Do I want to clear the fraction now? Do I want to clear it at the finish? I'm going to clear it at the finish because I want to. I think it's going to be easier that way. I've got y is equal to negative 3 over 4x plus 2. I'm going to add the 3 over 4x to the other side, and that's going to give me 3 over 4x plus y is equal to 2. Want to clear the 4, so the entire equation gets multiplied by 4. And this is why I'm going to wait to the finish. If I do it here, I've got 4 terms to multiply by 4. It makes my numbers a little bit bigger. It makes everything a little bit more, a little bit more intense. So I'm going to wait till the end to multiply by 4 and clear that fraction. When you multiply by 4 on this term, it's just going to clear the denominator, so I get a 3x. You multiply this term, that's going to give me a 4x. And then you multiply this term right here, that's going to give me an 8. And that will be my final answer. 3x plus 4y is equal to 8. And that'll be that last problem.